Hello, today we'll be tasting the Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon from California. My name is David Hunter. I'm the Director of Content and Education with Teuton Selection. Let's begin by taking a look at the label. Very nice traditionally shaped Bordeaux bottle. And most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the classic Cellars label. Same design as the Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and other labels that you work with. And I'll point out that this is the 2020 vintage we're talking about here specifically. And they still have on there the nice logo of family-owned estates in the bottom corner here, which is always a nice selling point that these are family-owned vineyards and estates. Cellars is a top-quality Northern California Cabernet. It's made from a selection of single vineyard plots, and from plots that have a large diurnal shift, meaning that there's a big difference between the daytime high temperature and the nighttime low temperature. And you'll find that throughout Northern California, but also in the best wine production regions in the world, such as Bordeaux. You find that in New Zealand and Australia. So you have a big temperature shift here, and that really creates really complex and interesting wines. It adds more complexity to the grapes. These vineyards are farmed by, again, multi-generational families, and they're estate-owned. It's made sustainably, and it is environmentally friendly, and they use environmentally friendly agricultural practices. Here's a map of Northern California. The grapes for Cellars come throughout Northern California. We select the best individual vineyard plots given the harvest and the year. So based on any given year, we go and we work with the winemakers at Cellars to select the best single sites, and then we blend those together to make the Cellars Cabernet. The soils here are generally sandy loam soils, which are ideal for the production of Cabernet. And here's an image of some of the vineyard sources here in Mendocino. And an image of some of the Cabernet grapes specifically on the vine. So you see here, tiny berries, nice concentration, beautiful ripeness. Northern California is notorious for their excellent quality, but also even ripeness of the grapes. Let's talk a bit more about the vinification. This is made in a very traditional warm fermentation with pump overs many times a day. This gives you additional color, extraction, and flavors to the wine. Interesting here, though, that the Cabernet is different from the rest of the Cellars is that they make it in open top fermenters. So they have no lid on top of the fermentation tank, and that gives you additional oxygen, and it also helps evaporate some of the alcohol. So it really gives you a beautifully balanced wine, but also gives you additional complexity and flavors. It's punched down 2 to 3 times per day. I have a picture of it I'll show here. And that gives you additional extraction, and it mixes the skins with the juice below. So that's, again, a very manual, time-intensive process, done 2 to 3 times per day. But it really does add an additional layer of flavor and complexity to the wine. After pressing, the wine goes through full malolactic fermentation. This creates more really the velvety, smooth texture of the wine. It's aged in a combination of new and used French and American oak. This adds complexity, but also spice and a bit of vanilla edge to it. So it gives it additional layers of flavor. The final wine is then blended, goes through a final filtration, and it's bottled. After bottling, it's kept and aged in the cellar for usually about 3 to 4 months before being released and ready for sale. That just allows the wine to integrate and balance out before it's ready for sale. Let's review some of the tasting notes. First of all, the color, very traditional garnet brick color, very deep and dark in color. The nose is classic Cabernet. So black cherries, plums, blackberries. Get a bit of a sweet spice on that. Touch of vanilla, maybe a bit of clove. Lots of nice spices there. Really complex. Same flavors on the palate as you get on the nose, but you're really struck by the velvety texture of this wine. So it's round and deep, lots of fruit, but very well balanced. So the fruit, the acid, the tannin, they're all in balance perfectly. And it's very velvety and smooth, soft tannins, really just very approachable wine. You could have this a glass on its own or with a variety of dishes. It'd be, of course, classic with a steak or barbecue, but it's also excellent with stews, grilled meats, beef, pork. I love lamb. You could pair this with cheeses, particularly firmer cheeses, like a cow's milk firm cheese would be good. And even with desserts, specifically chocolate desserts would really work well for this. Let's review some final talking points. Again, family-owned estates and vineyards. It is sustainably farmed and produced. It's produced from 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, and these are from single vineyard sites throughout Northern California. It has, as well as the rest of the coal line, an excellent price to quality ratio. Very balanced, and only 13.5% alcohol, which Cabernets from Northern California generally hover around 14 to 14.5 nowadays. So this is a nice departure from that, in that the slightly lower alcohol of 13.5% really allows the fruits and the complexities and the spice to shine through. Again, just a very approachable wine, rich and complex, but very approachable and very drinkable. Again, thank you for your time. My name is David Hunter. I'll leave my contact information here. Feel free to reach out to me for any additional information for the Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon or any additional wines sold by Two Ton Selection. Thank you.